We have been having such a blast with the Makers in Minnesota dinners that we've been having at the Lexington. We've decided to change up the format a bit and have a spring cocktail party. That way, more people will be able to experience all of the great makers that we get to talk to. We're going to be having Prize Brewing, Vicre Distilling, Wild State Cider, Dash Fire, Crooked Water Spirits, Redlocks Whiskey, Lovejoy's Bloody Mary Mix, Denord Craft Spirits, Edina Roastery, J. Carver Distilling, Sweet Haven Tonic, Tattersall, Cherub Shrubs, Muddle and Mint, and Popped Corn, Salad Girl, Patty's Spice Nuts, the Salsa Collaborative, and Tiarina Spices, all there at the Lexington during this cocktail party so that you can taste all of the unique Minnesota-made products that we have to offer. We'll be doing sample sizes of cocktails and sample sizes of canned cocktails, and we've got some great bites for you there. We're going to be at the Lexington. You can get tickets. They're $40 a person, and it's at thelexmn.com to order. And we will have all of the makers with us that night. All of the floors of the Lexington will be open, so you'll be having a multi-dimensional experience at each of the different floors and be moving through the space, trying lots of new makers products and old makers products that you know and love. It's the Makers in Minnesota cocktail party. Hurry and get your tickets, because when they're gone, they're gone. But we anticipate that this is going to be a sellout. We are really looking forward to hosting you. The cocktail party is going to be April 26th. It's a Tuesday night, and we will have doors open at 6 o'clock, and we will host you until 9. It's the Makers in Minnesota Spring Cocktail Party. I'll be there. All of the makers that I've mentioned will be there, and we can't wait to meet you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Makers in Minnesota podcast. One of my favorite parts about the podcast is when we get to check back in with makers that started with us on a journey and are still in the business and still moving it forward. And season 2, episode 30, we were talking to Claire and Chad Simons, and you guys were cricket farmers, and you were like the second cricket farmer I had talked to, which is pretty cool. But at that time, you had started out, you were growing crickets at a facility in St. Louis Park, and you were really talking about, Claire was talking about the health benefits, Chad was talking about the sustainability issues and the protein component of crickets. And since then, you guys have blown up. Like, you've had like a huger warehouse, right?
Yep.
Tell me about that. Was it 7,000 square feet, and how many square feet are you now?
We're at 3,500 square feet now. Was 700.
100. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Can you tell I have no sense of square footage in my brain? So that's basically 4 or 5 times what you had. And crickets are really small, and you're growing them and harvesting them and grinding them up and making them into food products. Is Gustav Romero, the chef, still working with you guys?
He is. He's very busy with Niksta.
Yeah.
But we still collaborate and talk with him a lot. And he definitely, like we told you on the last podcast, he really helped us in the beginning and help us with our spice mixes. And like we said, taught us what a cricket should taste like. So
yeah. And you guys sell crickets to people, but you also sell the powder yourself, and you're starting to make food products. So let's talk a little bit about, obviously bigger space, more demand for crickets. That's cool. But how you're incorporating that into your food product life as we catch back up with you.
Sure. So I believe we were in the process of, maybe we had just finished our commercial kitchen inside the farm when we had spoke with you before. And I feel like just a couple of years ago, maybe right before the pandemic, we really were getting our products streamlined, and we had the powder, cookies, snack mixes, and chocolate. Now we've moved into chocolate, which is my favorite.
Yeah, my favorite too.
We had to do something with that. I mean, it doesn't go well with chocolate, but and we use a local company. We use San Jose Hacienda chocolate from Ecuador, which is amazing. And so people have just really it's definitely getting traction. And kind of like we've said before, I almost feel like the pandemic, it put climate change in people's faces. People put their health first. So they're really curious. They're really interested. And, where just a few years ago, it's, what are you doing? People thought it was a prank. And now I'll try that. Okay. Yeah. Gut health. Oh my gosh. I really want to try something. And if it's going to help with my immune system, if it's going to help with my gut health, if it's going to high protein. And so many new studies are coming out too, which is amazing. There was a special on Nova a couple months ago, and they talked about how prebiotic fiber from crickets is the missing link to our gut health. And that's just absolutely amazing. So our crickets were tested, and they're anti-diabetic, anti-hypertensive, and anti-inflammatory. So kind of the answer to the diet here in the US.
Well, and I think it's interesting because a lot of people had challenges during the pandemic, and I imagine you did too. Mm-hmm. But coming out of it, you were poised in a different way because it really tested our food system.
Very true. Yes, that is exactly right. I think you can talk more about that if you want.
Well, sure. I mean, a big part of why a lot of cricket farmers go into producing food products with crickets is food security. It's a big deal. And it's also sustainable. So not only are we facing the challenges with food security, we're also facing the challenges and hopefully meeting the challenges eventually of a food source that's sustainable, that can help, with what we have seen happen to the rainforest, the environment in general, with types of protein sources and other food sources that are not sustainable.
So, Chad, you told me once, I think, but you can turn over your entire crop of crickets. How fast?
Well, the life cycle for us is 6 weeks. So we get a fresh crop every 6 weeks, and we're working on making that even faster. It's really a matter of the climate they're in, the feed they get, just how well they're taken care of too.
Hands-on. Yeah.
Yeah.
We also feed them spent grains from breweries now. So we do an organic vegetarian chicken feed so that they have all the nutrients and vitamins. We're thinking about yeast and a nutritional yeast feed as well. And that industry, I feel like, is starting to really kind of start up too, is what to feed the crickets. But to be able to create those food loops, those urban food loops within the Twin Cities.
Yeah. So for example, we get our spent grains from La Doña Cerveceria, and the crickets love it. It's a huge source of protein for the crickets, which then is converted into protein that we eat. So it's really great to be a part of these regenerative ways of farming that take advantage of food loops. So for the loop exactly being, the brewery gets their grains from the farmer. Then they use those grains to make their beer. The spent grains then come to us. The next part in the loop, we feed it to our crickets, and that's another food source. And then the crickets' manure is called frass. And then we give that to the farmer, and the loop goes back to the beginning. So the farmer then uses the manure or the frass to grow the grains that then go to the brewery that can, so it's a loop.
I never thought about cricket poop before. So thank you for that.
We've got lots of cricket poop over here.
So do they, I get frass, you call it. So do they poop a lot?
Yeah. I mean,
they do. It's dry. It doesn't smell. So I think it's
like sand.
It is like sand. And it's actually an amazing fertilizer and plant fertilizer, and then natural insecticide.
or a natural pest deterrent is what
Pesticide,
I'd
yeah.
rather call it.
Yeah, not insecticide.
It doesn't really kill them, so it's not a pesticide. It just deters them. So what happens is the plant absorbs we believe it's the chitin. It's a compound in the frass, and then that plant is alerted to a potential infestation because it feels like with all that frass around it, there must be insects there too. So it fortifies its defenses. And then any other actual insects that come, it's already fortified and sending out whatever kind of defenses it has to ward off a real infestation.
How cool. And yeah, that's real cool. You start to really like think about these things and how much goes into your planting and your food and the outcome of your food. And it's a really fragile system.
Yes.
That I'm glad that people are testing it in different ways so that we can try to find other alternatives. You guys have these like almonds, you have chocolates now. Who's buying these snacks? And are you selling them at retail or are you selling them in breweries?
So we have our online on our website is obviously one of our primary places. We're just about to roll out our new packaging. And so we're really focusing on a novelty line right now. And so we're thinking like the Jordan Candy Store, they had our crickets right before they shut for the holidays.
Minnesota's largest candy store in Jordan.
In Jordan, yep. And we had like the Science Museum, Como Zoo. So it's a lot of these Paragus. They had our crickets in their holiday catalog, and they it was amazing. They were like, people love crickets.
And we're finding too that a lot of people are interested in including our products in gift boxes. So recently, so for promotional reasons or whatever it might be.
Because it's new, it's interesting. They're supporting local, and it's the future of food. So I think people are really.
We did a Makers of Minnesota gift box for holiday, and I'd never done one before. And it was crazy how many people wanted them. And I mean, I was sold out by Thanksgiving. So I was, and I never did it because I'm not a fulfillment house, like I didn't want to have all these boxes in my garage. And I found someone that was a partner that does all that. But it was still pretty crazy, like the interest just in regional products. So that speaks well to Minnesotans, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you think about, so you guys, do you see, obviously the cricket farming will grow and grow and grow and that's your side, Chad, but Claire, do you hope that the food side grows too and like developing more products? And
definitely. So we're looking at it right now I don't think crickets really will ever not be novel here to some people, but then our next line that we're thinking is more of a nutrition line. So it's really the powder, the prebiotic and the protein element, the good fats, healthy fats, everything like that. So that I think as it becomes and gains more traction and people become more aware of this superfood that's always been here, I think it's just going to keep growing. Yeah. And
what about electricity? Like as the challenge of inflation, is that hitting you guys in that way?
Yeah, we have to keep our crickets pretty warm so that they can grow. Actually, I'm glad you brought this up. We're working with a group of students at the University of St. Thomas, the GAHR fellows. And one of the projects we're going to have them work on is how to utilize solar panels, for example, or really any source of renewable energy. So we're taking a very close look at not only the sustainability of that, but also, the cost of utilities as well.
And our focus and our mission is regenerative farming. So it's really net positive farming.
Right.
That's really what we're looking to do.
Are you guys to the point where you're making money, like you're employing people, you're making money, you're adding to the fabric of our farming community?
We are.
Yes,
we are.
It's exciting.
When did you get there?
That's pretty exciting. Yes. Our oldest son actually works for us. He graduated last year. And so now he's a cricket farmer, and we have a farm manager as well. And we have 2 part-time kitchen employees. And I think I'll always be on the lookout for
Right.
kitchen help. So yeah, so we're excited about that.
Okay.
And we
So
have just more plans for expansion as well.
Yes.
So.
yeah. And I'm just excited to talk to you guys. It seems like things are going gangbusters. Are there areas that you need help in, or that you're like, wow, if we just had this, this would go better?
I know.
We just, we just got a lot of help from 2 very close friends who have extreme expertise in business.
Kind of a power couple.
And for the longest time, I think Claire and I both were, eager to find that kind of help. And so if we had just had, more business expertise, more marketing expertise, that was the feeling we had until we met.
Yeah, until they were kind of filled that.
Until, we met this couple. So.
And do you consult with them, or is it coaching? Like, I see a lot of entrepreneurs that you're in a vacuum and you don't have a lot of resources other than your family and friends.
That's very true. And I think it's a relationship that's still in the works. They've been mentors, and I think it'll probably grow.
Yep.
To be.
So the takeaway would be to encourage people to reach out to other business owners. And
definitely.
Yeah.
I think so. I think social media is always something we're looking for help with, because I feel like I'm too old to even know that stuff is. But it's really for this novelty line that we're working on, it's kind of family oriented. So it's, a lot of taking the cricket challenge, and you think of like TikTok, and you think of like, okay, I did it. I ate a cricket, and yeah, I kind of still say the Instagram. So I'm still trying, we need to get with that more and start posting more.
You're not alone. I've tried to convince my daughter, who's a writer. I'm like, if you just did social media, you'd have a million clients. Because I do it, but I do it for the brands that I like, and I don't really have any more capacity, and I'm not TikTok savvy. I think you really have to, if you follow Tina Rexing at all with T-Rex cookies, she's
phenomenal.
Yeah, she hit on something that really works for her, and you kind of have to have a gimmick. And so if anybody wants to start a business being a social media marketer, call me. There you go. And I'll bring you clients, and you can give me a cut of what you do. You never know. When we look forward, I'm trying to keep promoting crickets and keep promoting your story. Okay. Are there other brands or things that you want to get into, like other partnerships that you're looking for?
We're thinking for the nutrition line, we're really thinking, I know we had talked with you before about like a flour mix too.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely an option. I think, if we're going more towards like sports line, then that would be more of like a protein powder.
Yep.
And have it already pre-made.
I'd love to see you guys connect with Bakersfield Flour and Bread.
Yes, I remember that's who you had said. And I think that would be fabulous. I think the ease of, anytime we've kind of talked about, it's easy. It's just like almond flour, but you're still having to put it all together. And it's a little bit, if you just had that one stop product that you didn't even have to think about it, it would be
kind of like who is it that did the French Laundry guy? I can't remember his name, it's escaping me, but the chef, he did 1 cup.
Oh yes.
Oh, Thomas Keller, that's his name. Mm-hmm. And he's been really successful with that, because I don't think I would like tinker around with cricket powder by myself, but if there was a mix with it and I could make crackers or pancakes or whatever, I'd be more likely to do that. And I think heritage grain producers and millers is a great place to start, because the texture is really different with heritage grains, and it might be closer to a cricket texture.
Yep.
So just a thought, but
no, that's fabulous.
At the food building, he'll hook you up. He's always looking for collaborations.
That would be fabulous. I think, like you said, it's scary you don't want to ruin a whole batch. If you're making something, you want to know you know what you're doing. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's good to catch up with you guys.
you too.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yep. Keep me in the loop with what you got going on. And 2 years from now, you'll probably be at 10,000 square feet. You'll have solar panels. You'll be in tons of products. I feel it.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.